I know finances can feel overwhelming, but stick with me because today I'm talking about how you can take control and declutter your finances for 2025, and all of that before tax season hits. Well, hello, my friend. Welcome back to another episode of the From Chaos to Peace podcast, where I talk about how clutter is so much more than you think, and we put a spiritual twist on clearing that clutter to get organized. Thank you so much for allowing me back into your ears. Well, hello, my friend. I'm your host, Conny Graf. Welcome to this episode. And Happy New Year and all the best for 2025. I hope you had a great holiday season, whether you celebrated or not. I myself had a quiet holiday. I was very engaged in the 12 holy nights for myself and with those of you who chose to join me. It was a very interesting experience to do it with so many of you, not just all by myself here at home. But now, everyday life is calling us again, and I want to talk to you about finances. And I know finances can feel very overwhelming, but stick with me, I can help. So in the last episode 246, I said that winter invites us to reflect, build systems, and create habits that will support us when the energy shifts. Just like our ancestors spent this season indoors planning, repairing, and preparing for spring, we probably feel like we want to do the same. And so one of those systems and foundations to build now is around finances. And you might think it's a bit early to think about taxes, but trust me, starting now will save you stress later. And besides, it's not just about taxes. That's what a lot of people misunderstand. More about that later. Let me just give you a quick overview what I want to talk about with you today. I want to talk about why start now, what qualifies me to talk about finances, what financial clutter is, common financial missteps that people do, mental and emotional clutter around finances that actually increase the financial clutter, and how to create systems and habits. And I also have an offer and an opportunity for you to get my help. I will talk about that at the end. Okay, so now let's dive in a bit deeper. So let's explore why start now. Well, in order to create a plan for 2025, and I deliberately avoid the word budget here, I myself love to call it my lighthouse that guides me around the cliffs of 2025. So I don't call it a budget myself. But if we want to plan for 2025, we need to know what was happening in 2024. And if you don't have organized finances for 2024, you can't really create a lighthouse plan for 2025. But what we can do is we can use the creating the plan for 2025 to get our finances for 2024 into order. And as a side effect, we make our tax season easier. Doesn't that sound great? Imagining sailing through tax season without the stress of hunting down receipts or scrambling to find that one missing document. Doesn't sound that amazing? And you can make this happen by starting now. Starting now gives you a huge advantage. You're not under pressure and you have time to double check everything. Plus, it's a chance to declutter your finances and maybe even set some money goals for the year ahead, and also for maybe correcting some mistakes that you made in 2024 so you don't repeat them in 2025. And the best part of it all is you can start with small, manageable steps today. Your future self will thank you and will be proud of you. That will be a great moment, right? And so here too, a few minutes a day keeps the chaos away. I do hope I have your ear and understanding that this is the right time to actually make a change. So let's address the elephant in the room real quick. What qualifies me to talk about finances? So what qualifies me to talk about finances is, and maybe you only heard me talk about clutter and astrology so far on the podcast, maybe you didn't go far back in these episodes, So in case you are new around here and you are surprised that I'm talking about finances, I'm actually qualified to talk about finances because I'm a Swiss certified expert in finance and accounting. What that means is I am a financial consultant. My role focuses on financial records, books, and year-end closings. I advise my clients on maintaining their financial books with the focus on the day-to-day financial record keeping and year-end processes, but not so much on tax filing. So I don't do taxes, but I help my clients to get to the point that they could just hand over all their files to the tax accountant to do the taxes, and that all with as little stress as possible. So I worked in corporate finance as an employee from 1990 to 1998, and then in November 1998 I became self-employed, and I have been working as a financial consultant ever since. That's a staggering 36 years, and oh yes, this ages me. But so working in finances is also kind of the reason why I got into helping people clear clutter, helping people create supportive environments instead of cluttered and stressful ones. Because I could see in all these years what a difference it makes when my clients worked in clutter-free and supportive environments rather than in messy and chaotic ones, how their quality of work and productivity was better, and how much more effective they were compared to before when it was still all a chaos. And that's then also when I noticed the correlation between a cluttered office, cluttered files, and people not having their finances in order and under control. So in short, having cluttered finances. So this is what qualifies me, and I have worked with a lot of people around clutter, financial clutter, physical clutter, mental clutter, emotional clutter. And so when you feel overwhelmed by a messy desk and overflowing digital files, it's not just about the mess. It's often a symptom of a deeper chaos. And it creates so much stress. And stress then leads to more avoidance and avoiding to take control of the finances, which only creates a bigger chaos and compounds the clutter, right? Okay, so now with that out of the way, let's define financial clutter. For me, financial clutter includes disorganized records, yes. No system to keep your records, to collect your records, yes. But it also includes a lack of cash flow planning and a lack of planning in general. It also includes that you have no overview, you have no idea around your finances or only a vague idea, and that you are driving blind, so to speak, which results in making uninformed decisions and reactive decisions, like firefighting decisions. And it also creates a reactive approach at tax preparation and tax season. And in general, it just creates a lot of stress because finances affect our business and our life, and we can't avoid it. And then there is a strong connection between financial clutter and other types of clutter, such as physical and digital clutter, as well as mental and emotional clutter. So financial clutter can also be that you spend money on things that you don't need. You spend money on things that you already have, but you didn't remember that you had them or you couldn't find them. Financial clutter can also be that you don't find receipts that would give you a tax deduction. And because of that, you pay more taxes. It's also financial clutter, right? Maybe you have to pay penalties because you are not paying your bills on time because you have a chaos in your filing system. It's also financial clutter. So there is many aspects of financial clutter, right? Like just like I always say, like there is so much more to clutter than you think. There is so much more to financial clutter than you think. So now I want to talk about some common financial missteps that I see people doing. So one of them is only looking at finances when it's tax time. A lot of you, I hope not you, but a lot of business owners that I've met, they're only thinking that they have to pay attention to finances when it's tax season. They only think that they have to turn in the tax declaration, which is very annoying, And that's the only reason why they pay attention to their finances. And the rest of the year, they really don't need to pay attention to they don't really have to pay attention to finances. Man, oh man, I can't speak. But so let's get this mental clutter out of the way first, right? Like, while it's financial clutter to only look at finances when it's tax season and not for the rest of the year, it's also mental clutter. In my books, or how I look at it, is the tax return is actually only a side effect of your financial organization, not the main purpose of it. When you focus just on the tax return, it's like driving your car by only looking through the rear view mirror. I am sure you can totally see that driving a car while only looking in the rear view mirror is not a safe way to drive a car. But it's exactly what you do if you only focus on your finances and run your business by only focusing on finances at tax time. When you only look at your finances at tax time, it's after the fact. Everything is in the past. You have no way to course correct anymore because it has been months. Even if you file your taxes on time, it has been at least 4 months. So no way of course correcting. You have your taxes or your finances not under control. You have your cash flow not under control. You actually run your business by looking in the rear view mirror. It's important at any stage of your business to have elegant, clutter-free finances. You want to know what's going on in your finances at all time. That means at least weekly, depending on how big and how new your business is, maybe even daily. Feeling in control like this brings you more peace, and that's why you're here, right? You want to go from chaos to peace. Knowing what's going on in your finances is also one of the prerequisites that you can grow your business and that you will be able to have a team eventually, to be able to hire people. You can't hire anybody if you're not in control over your finances. How can you provide them a secure and stable job? Even if it's a freelancer, you still want to provide a stable business connection, right? Like not this firefighter thing when you all of a sudden realize you run out of money because you weren't paying attention to your finances. And so I also want to say here in this section that you can't fully 100% outsource your finances, even if you have a big team, even if you have somebody in your team that is your CFO, your financial officer, right? You can't 100% outsource it if you're the owner of the business. You always need to know what's going on. And if you're smaller and you don't have a team yet, you can't completely outsource it to your bookkeeper or tax accountant either. Because again, most of them only look into the past. That's their job, to look into the past to make sure that everything is accurate, and the tax accountant will make sure everything is filed accurate. But they're not helping you with the day-to-day. They're not helping you with the future. That's you as a business owner that need to look at the present and look into the future. You can get help with that. But in the end, you as the business owner and the CEO, that's your responsibility to have the finances under control, to know exactly what's going on. Now, another misstep I see that people are doing is they're not focusing on cash flow. Did you know that you can have a profitable business, meaning you have a profit at the end of the year for your tax return, but you can still run out of cash the following year? The reason is cash flow. If you're not paying attention to cash flow and don't have simple systems set up to make sure you have a positive cash flow, or are at least aware of a negative cash flow, then you could really run into this problem that you had a profitable business last year, but you're running out of cash flow this year. And positive cash flow means that there is always enough money coming in to cover the expenses that you have. So the cash flow in is bigger than the cash that flows out. Sometimes a positive bottom line, which a lot of people talk in financial language, like top line and bottom line and all that, you could have a profit at the end of the year. You could have a positive bottom line at the end of the year and still run out of cash. So when you only focus on revenue like so many people do, And even if you focus on profit, like so many people start to do now, but you don't pay attention to the cash flow, you could end up in a pickle really quick. Not focusing on cash flow is a biggie. You want to change that. If that's you, please change that. Because it's one of the biggest risks when you only pay attention to your finances once a year or at tax season, that you actually will run out of cash. Because have you heard of the saying, rob Peter to pay Paul? That's what a lot of business owners are doing. I hope that's not you. They rely and depend on today's revenue to pay the bills from yesterday or last year. And you may have experienced that yourself, or you may know someone who got a tax bill, for example, and didn't have the money to pay for it because they had no idea this big back tax bill will show up, because they were not in control of their finances. They only look at their finances when they file taxes, when it's too late, and then you run out of cash. So then, if that happens, they have to work extra hard and bring in extra revenue to be able to pay the taxes on revenue they made the year before or even further back. And one big problem with that is that you will always lag behind, because now you need to pay your ongoing bills. You need to pay a big tax bill from the year before. And because you have to make so much more revenue this year, you also will have to start putting aside cash to pay that big tax bill that you're creating this year, right? So you never get out of this if you're not paying attention. This is vicious cycle, right? So to get out of this, you have to start paying attention to your finances every single day, maybe, if needed, at least in the beginning. And then later, maybe every single week is enough, or every other week. But you need to start paying attention to your finances. And trust me, as nerve-wracking and overwhelming that may sound right now, this will be the path to more peace in your life. Because finances have so much to do with our life, right? Like, we can't avoid it. We all need money to buy groceries, to pay our bills, and the money needs to come from our business if we're business owners. And the business has bills to pay. So you can't avoid it. It's not something you can avoid. So it's better to pay attention to it and take control. But this is where a lot of the mental and emotional clutter surrounds the topic of finances. So let me ask you this. How are you feeling about your finances? Again, it's not just about numbers. There is an emotional toll on financial disorganization that can be just as heavy. When we avoid dealing with finances, it's not just about the piles of receipts or unpaid bills. It creates a deep sense of emotional clutter too. The stress, the anxiety, the fear of facing something that we've been avoiding. This kind of emotional clutter can hold us back from making sound decisions in our business and in our life. And just like physical clutter piles up and drains our energy, emotional clutter around finances can rob us of clarity and peace of mind and sleep. Hello, who has ever laid awake at night worrying about money? That's why I help my clients how to tackle not only the practical side of financial clutter, but also the emotional clutter that comes along with it. I help them understand that hiding and ignoring makes things even worse, and it's going to freak them out even more, and it will weigh them down, which makes it really hard to focus on the business and to serve their clients to the best of their ability. So I say this again, by being so stressed about your finances, you are cheating yourself and your business and your clients of the best you. I know there is a lot of shame around finances, not understanding or not having control over one's finances. Let me tell you, I've been there. I know what I'm talking about. And you might feel deeply alone and as if you were the only person struggling with clutter and finances and shame. And I know from my own experience, it isolates us. And I'm here to tell you and talk about that this is not true and that there are ways to address your clutter, the physical, digital, mental, emotional, and most of all, the financial clutter. So the solution here is to create systems and habits around your finances. There are really simple and easy systems that you can implement that take less time, way less time, and way less energy than the regular freaking out at tax season. But most people don't do it because looking at financial clutter through the lens of clutter clearing, we realize it's a difficult category of clutter. Also because we can't just ask ourselves the questions that we would ask ourselves with physical clutter, like, do I love it? When did I use it last? When will I use it next? Or anything like that. Or is it useful, right? So we can't ask ourselves these things. And also, it's different from regular clutter that if your house is full of physical clutter, let's say, there's no authority that will come and tell you you have to clear your clutter and clean your house. But with finances, you have the tax authority in your neck. The tax authority who is demanding that you file your taxes. And this adds so much stress and overwhelm to it. And if you're like I just talked about before, if you're overwhelmed and your tendency is to stick your head in the ground or in the sand, then this can become really a big issue when it doesn't really have to be such a big issue. When we can at least create some order in our finances. That doesn't mean yet we may make ends meet, right? That on its own is overwhelming. But if you at least know the status or the stand of your finances, that takes away some of the stress. Back in 2016, I wrote a blog post about overcoming the fear of finances. But here is a quick summary. If it sounds very familiar to you, then it's because it's basically the 3 principles for successful decluttering, but used around financial clutter. Number 1 is start small and break it down in chunks. And just as many people try to take on too much when they start clearing their physical clutter in their house or in their office, be careful to not take on too much with your finances at first. Like, some people try to avoid it completely and then they want to fix it all in like one day. That doesn't usually work, really. So what I mean is, depending on where your business stands, you might need to set up a daily habit for your financial files, maybe 15 minutes a day. Or if you have a smaller business, maybe it's good enough with 15 to 30 minutes a week. But start setting up or blocking out some time in your calendar to start dealing with your financial clutter. You are in January, you still have time, but that doesn't mean we can wait and procrastinate till April. No, we want to start now with a few minutes a day. I suggest 15 minutes a day. That really will get you somewhere. The first day might be very hard. The second might be very hard. And then you will get into a momentum and then you will start cleaning it up all. Again, you don't have to go from 0 to 100 in 3 seconds or less. Instead, you want to start building a solid foundation and a system that works for you and that can grow together with you and your business. So starting small helps you with that. Just imagine how much more peaceful and in charge you would feel by spending just a few minutes a day or a week. And how that all would feel when tax season comes around. So my second principle for successful decluttering is to start in the least emotional area, and around finances, that is, you want to go the route of least resistance. So we don't want to start with the hardest part. Also, we want to have some quick wins. So yes, we want to get our finances of 2024 in order so tax season gets easier. But instead of starting in January 2024 and trying to create order in January 2024, which is a year ago, you first want to start with today. You want to start with organizing January 2025. It's when you listen to this, when it comes out, it's the beginning of January. So start creating some system around it now. Make sure your receipts that you have, if they are paper receipts still, they all go into a box, a basket, whatever, just all into one place. And if it's digital files, you just throw them all into the same digital folder. Don't worry about organizing just yet. Just get them all into the same place. Baby steps, okay? So that is the route of the least resistance. You want to start now. You want to start creating this foundation, this system, this filing system, and this regularly looking at your finances with January 2025. With the presence. We can go back after. Once you have this present situation already a little bit under control, in a week or two, we can start with going back to 2024, because we will have to. When you want to do a plan for 2025, you will have to know what happened in 2024. But before we do that, we first take care of the now, of the present. And then the third principle around successful decluttering is, I always say, a few minutes a day, and it's very important. Try not to be perfect. Try not to aim for perfect. It's another pitfall. We're trying to get the perfect system right away. When you want to, some of you want to go from no system, from absolute chaos to perfect system. A perfect system doesn't exist. The only perfect system that I say exists is that is perfect for you. Chaos isn't perfect for you, but you don't know yet what is the perfect, in air quotes, system for you. So don't try to make it perfect from the beginning. Start messy. Just start somehow. Start getting into a routine to look at your finances a few minutes a day. If you try to be perfect from the beginning, you set yourself up for failure, because you will fall off the wagon. I know it. I'm a perfectionist. So many times I start over and over and over again and waste time because it has to be perfect, until I figured out, oh, wait a second, it can't be perfect from the beginning, because I don't know yet what perfect would look to me. We can't go from 0 to 100 in 3 seconds, as I said before. We sabotage ourselves with this approach, or with this attempt to create it perfect, right? So just a few minutes a day, messy if needed. Don't aim for perfect. Aim for doing something rather than aiming for doing it perfectly. Okay, here a quick summary of the steps to address financial clutter. Start small and break down these tasks into manageable chunks, 15 minutes a week. I would suggest, if you start 15 minutes a day, we all find 15 minutes a day to take care of something that is important, that would bring us more peace in 2025, right? Second, go the route of least resistance. Focus on easy wins and start in the now. Start with January 2025. Start with looking at it now. Start with creating some order now before you start looking backwards into the past and try to clean up your backlog. And then also focus on progress, not perfection, and celebrate small achievements. Celebrate if you start looking at your finances, if you haven't looked at your finances in a long time. If you are looking at your finances but you have no system in place, celebrate that you start putting a system in place. Celebrate even the smallest achievement, which will build a sustainable habit and a momentum. So the summary of this episode is, financial clutter is not just about the numbers. It's the emotional clutter plays a huge role too, and the mental clutter around it too. And avoiding finances doesn't just pile up receipts. It builds stress, anxiety, and fear. So be brave and start addressing where you stand and what needs to be done. Start your journey from chaos to peace in financial matters for 2025, because no matter if you just started out your business or at your goal or if your goal is $100,000 a year or $1 million a year, whatever, if you can't bring yourself to open up your bank statements, or if getting your taxes taken care of creates anxiety, if you can't bring yourself to create an honest assessment of where you are right now, and if finances feel overwhelming, take control now and make this year different and less stressful. Less stressful. Do yourself a huge favor and start changing it. Start taking control. Because it will not just be at next tax season that you will experience the benefits. You will experience the benefits daily. You will feel so much more in charge and control of your business. And as a result, you will be able to serve your clients better and grow your business on a solid foundation. Now, if all this sounds way too scary to you, or you don't believe you can do it on your own, but you are so ready to make a change now, I have 2 ways I can help. The first one is I have a workshop coming up on how to create elegant finances for 2025 and a lighthouse plan for 2025. Please get on the wait list for that if you're interested. The link is in the show notes. And more info will follow shortly. The second option is the opportunity to work with me one-on-one, with me being your fractional CFO and ally. You can message me on Instagram at I am Conny Graf, or you can sign up for a complimentary Chaos to Peace consultation, where we see if working together on your financial clutter would be a great fit. I work with other people as a fractional CFO, and they always tell me that it helps so much to talk through their finances once a week with me. Even if they have to do the work themselves, just talking about it, brainstorming it, and bouncing it off of me will help them tremendously to reduce their emotional, mental clutter and stress around finances. So your journey from chaos to peace starts with a few minutes a day of focusing on your files and finances, which will create a lot more peace in your life and business in 2025, especially in the economy we are in right now. So, I hope this helps. This is it for today, my friend. Have a beautiful and amazing week, and talk to you next time. Take good care and be safe. Hey, it's me again, Conny, your host. I wanted to remind you that you can bring your financial chaos to me. If it sounds too scary, or you don't believe you can do it on your own, but you are so ready to make a change, there are 2 ways right now that I can help. 1, I have a workshop coming up on how to create elegant finances and a lighthouse plan for 2025. Get on the wait list for that. The link is in the show notes, and more info follows shortly. The second option is the opportunity to work with me one-on-one, as me being your fractional CFO and ally. You can message me on Instagram. My handle is I am Conny Graf, or you can sign up for a complimentary Chaos to Peace consultation, and we can see if working together on your financial clutter would be a great fit. That link is also in the show notes. To more peace in 2025. Bye for now.